It is 11 o'clock. We may still have some stragglers coming in, Sammy, but we're full on in summertime and the week of the 4th. So I'm actually tickled to see the 6 of you who are here. Thank you for coming. And I would like to introduce y'all to Sammy Pierce with Budget Blinds. He is our lunch sponsor for today. We're very grateful for you. And take it away, Sammy.
All right. Well, I will keep this brief because I know the last thing you want to do is hear some guy talk about window treatments. Um,
Fans.
so I'm with Budget Blinds. We are a nationwide franchise. Our particular franchise has been operating for 28 years. Same husband and wife owner that whole time. We've got about close to 30 employees on staff. Most of those are our installers. We've had no turnover in the last 5 years, which is actually incredible, especially for installers. And we have one of the largest showrooms in the Triangle. It's over 55 near Durham. So you're welcome to send clients there, and that's a little bit of a drive from here. But if you have anyone who doesn't really know where to start with window treatments, it's a great place to come look to get ideas, things like that. And we have about 4.9 Google rating on Google right now with over 1,600 reviews. So, but we do a lot more than just blinds. I know the name can be a little deceptive. We do shutters, shades. We're especially right now specializing in motorized products because they are very popular. We kind of specialize in a company called Lutron, which if you've been to like a Home Depot or Lowe's, you may have seen their lighting switches. We're the exclusive vendor for Lutron. They're like top of the line when it comes to motorization. So we really love our Lutron products. If we could only sell one thing, it'd probably be Lutron. But we do blinds as well. We do a lot of exterior products, especially now with the summertime coming up. That is very popular. People love the exterior screens. They can be motorized or manual. We also do retractable awnings. And we also have seen an uptick in drapery again because drapery is making a comeback. So we've seen that kind of over the past year or so. We also do free in-home consultations. So if you or your client wants to have one of us come out, give recommendations, you don't know where to start, or you just have a crazy weird window and you're like, I don't know what to do with that thing. We do free in-home consultations. So we'll come out, give recommendations, give you a quote, and there is no obligation to buy whatsoever. And then I mentioned the showroom already, but there's just some examples of some of the products that we've done. So this is some of our motorized exterior screens. One of our retractable awnings that someone got a little bit creative of where they put it, kind of over this little garden area. And then these are specialized shutters, different shapes that are available. So just some of the things that we offer. One thing that we're also very proud of is our $1 per window campaign. We donate $1 for every window that we cover. Last year, we covered about 40,000 windows. And some of the organizations that we sponsor, Hope Reigns, the Durham Rescue Mission, Raleigh Dream Center, and Vets to Vets, we love being able to partner with them. Actually, the Raleigh Dream Center, our owner, Dan Carlin, he is actually head of the board right now for the Raleigh Dream Center. So they do a lot of really good work and something that we're really proud of to be a part of. But the reason I'm here talking to you guys is our Realtor Rewards program. So we do a referral program where if you sign up with our program, you can get special discounting for yourself. You can get special discounting for your clients. The way it works is your clients can receive a $150 gift certificate that comes from you, the realtor. So they'll get a gift certificate that looks basically just like this. That'll have your name on it. This is a great thing to put in a closing packet, or if you have someone who says, I need window treatments because my windows are uncovered, you can send them to us and we'll give them a gift certificate that comes from you. So just a great way to, go a little, that extra mile for your clients to give them a little extra touch there, especially once, everything's wrapping up. They also get priority scheduling for their in-home consultations. So, I know closing dates around that time, things get really hectic. But if you need, hey, we need them in at Friday, or we need you out here on Friday, if you give us at least a few days, we can usually make that work. So we give priority scheduling for that. And we also do free temporary shades if your client buys. So it's especially if the windows are uncovered, we don't want people living in the fishbowl. Then for you guys, if your client buys, we do $50 thank you gift cards if they spend more than $1,000. And that's to Amazon or Target, so you can have your choice of where you want that gift card from. Like I mentioned earlier, it's a great closing packet certificate. I also will leave some of these. It's just little cards that say "Ask your realtor" about $150 gift certificate towards window treatments. I don't know if you guys want to leave these out somewhere, but you can also stuff these in packets for clients and things like that as just a little extra packet stuffer there. And then if you sign up for our program, you also get special referring partner discounts. So if you want to do window treatments for yourself, or you want to do exterior treatments or things like that, we use special discounting for our referring partner. So it's a real simple process. If you want to be in the program, if you want to get that gift certificate for your clients, you just have to enroll in our program. This is going to have a link. I'll share this with Tracey so that she can send it to everybody. But there's just a quick Google form. You can also scan that QR code that's on that flyer there. That will take you to the link. It's just like 6 or 7 questions. Mainly it's just contact information and where do you want the gift card sent to. You only have to do that one time and then you're enrolled in the program. The second thing is if you want the gift certificate for your clients. I just need this form filled out. It's basically got their contact information, it's got your information, and then where you want the gift certificate sent to. When you enroll in the program, I'll send this form out to everybody so that you have it. I just need it for each client it just helps us track who gets gift cards and whatnot, whether or not we've reached out to them, those kind of things. And if you want to send that form to us and then you don't want to have to worry about anything else, then we'll take care of all the scheduling, things like that. Some people really want to be able to present that gift certificate themselves. So we can also send that directly to the person. And then you'll just send it to me, which you can just email it to me. My contact information is on that paper. It's also here in this PowerPoint. But yeah, that's about it. Any questions for me?
Thank you so much, Sammy. Do y'all have any questions? No, you're fine. You didn't go over. That's what's wrong. You're fine. Do you guys have any questions?
Is there a cost to register for the program?
There is not.
Okay.
Yeah, it is completely free. In fact, you don't even have to send the gift certificate if you want. You can still get a referring gift card if you don't send the gift certificate. You just say, you mention us to your client and just say, we'll ask how they heard about Budget Blinds. If they mention your name, we'll send you a referring gift card, even if they buy.
So you guys work all the counties?
Yeah, so we cover the whole triangle. So we go about as far south as Andrew. And then we do like little parts of Wilmington. We go about as far east as like Smithfield. We go Selma, that area, Bailey. And then you go west, we're in like Holly Springs, Apex, that area. So we're the triangle and outlying areas because we are a franchise system. There are certain spots where other franchises have areas, and you guys are kind of right near that border area. So if you're unsure, you can always email me and say, "Hey, I've got a client who's at this address. Do you guys service this area?" And I can let you know. Sometimes there's like gray area, and if it's gray area, usually we can cover that spot too. But we try not to go into other people's territory.
Yeah, I think we've got a few vendors that are set up like that. But we appreciate you not poaching on their territory. I'm sure they do too.
Yes.
So, any other questions? Those are great questions. Thank you, Sammy. I haven't really had a blinds person on my vendor list. I just have always said go to Lowe's. So you made it. I'll add you to the list.
Perfect. Yeah,
At least we've got somebody local that we're sending them
absolutely.
instead of a big box. So I appreciate stopping by.
Yeah. Happy to help. If you guys have any questions, just let me know.
Thank you, Sammy.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
You too.
All right. Hi, everyone. How's everybody doing? Oh, who said hi? Jennifer. Thank you. Nobody usually says hi when I say hi.
I don't know.
Nobody wants to talk in front of the class because they're afraid they get called on. It's kind of silly, but I got it.
It's just a. You're like.
Okay, perfect. I'll move them over to our wall of fame over there.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Y'all give me 1 second to log on. If anybody wants to go grab food, you're welcome to. I gotta get my PowerPoint up here.
No, you're good. I'm looking for an outfit. No longer. I'm gonna make this.
We're favorite garden of sugars.
Yeah.
Man, I was really hoping you weren't coming.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, say. But I'm gonna teach you. These are all your people in here, and I'm gonna teach them how to not be so nice. And I don't want you to get mad at me, but I'm gonna teach them how to get at the same time. So
I should probably look.
no.
No, sorry, I was moving in. These are the ones.
She knows how nice I am, and I just scared the daylights out of her. Is what
We're
happened.
talking about now.
Okay.
And then. I don't know that she knows about it.
Yeah, they just
Oh, well.
just stopped. It's like you look at that. So they
Check it out, you guys. I did it all by myself.
Heck yeah, you did.
And I even made a PowerPoint presentation all by myself. Here we go. Justin. Justin's also really nice. Wow, I feel the pressure here. So all kinds of pressure with all these big names in the room. But here's what I want to talk to you about. And I know that right now, does anybody feel like they're kind of spinning their wheels a little bit? Like we're all working really, really hard and we're tired, right? This is the time when I feel like we tend to we get desperate, or we're new and we're desperate, and we tend to just do whatever our clients want us to do just so that we can make a buck. And I think that we can set ourselves up for failure doing that because we kind of lose control of the transaction that way. So I have a question for you. The first question, if I can actually say that I did this right, which apparently I can't. How nice are you? Oh, wait, sorry. For the class objectives, we're going to recognize the signs of burnout, set healthy client expectations, handle difficult conversations confidently, protect your time without sacrificing service. That's the important part, and build a sustainable real estate business. So, question, how nice are you? Anybody here, show of hands. Do you take texts or phone calls after 10 o'clock at night? 9 o'clock. Okay. Anybody ever cancel personal plans to go show a house? Yeah. Anybody work with unqualified buyers over and over again? Yeah. Anybody afraid to fire a client? Who here has fired a client?
I've been fired.
I've been fired too. Not very many times, I'm proud to say.
Not by a client, but like back when I was young, when I was looking at a house, or someone fired me. So I'm not afraid to fire.
Nice. Why did you get fired?
Because I was being too indecisive, and he just felt like I wasn't really ready to buy a house, and he was right.
I was just about to ask you, was he right?
Yes.
You're right. So we're so driven to put people into a home that we don't always pay attention to. Maybe it isn't the right time. So I love that. Thank you very much, Jennifer. And have y'all ever discounted your commission just because you're not sure you earned the job? Now that's one that I've never done because I think we all work really hard here. But if you have, this is something we don't want to be doing. What about apologizing for things that aren't our fault? All the time. All the time. Why do we do that? I say I'm sorry for saying sorry. Like I'll say I'm sorry. Sorry. Oh yeah. And why do we do that?
Because we're from the South.
They're about people pleasers.
Yeah, people pleaser.
Okay. Raise your hand if you think you're a people pleaser. Okay, every one of us almost is a people pleaser, and that's why we're good at this job, and that's why it drains the ever living snot out of us, which is why we're here. So we're going to learn about some ways to set proper boundaries and say not worthy. And oh, you know why? Hold on. I was almost smarter than a fifth grader. Now I am about up to the 6th grade. Actually, not these days because they're smarter than me. All right. Why do we say yes? Fear of losing business. Are we afraid if we say no that they're gonna go somewhere else? Do they? Sometimes. Not if we're in a buyer agency, but we'll go there in a second. We feel like we want to be liked. I want to be liked. I have a real problem with that. I want everybody to like me. It is my mission in life, and it gets me in a lot of trouble. What about new agent insecurity? I think we have some new agents in the room. We all did it. Anybody who was new, did you go at all hours of the day to all areas of the state to show all kinds of houses? Why do we do that? Because we're insecure and we need to that we think that is presenting our value, and it's not actually, it's doing the opposite. People pleasing tendencies, we've talked about that. And what about the social media hustle culture? Does anybody else want to talk about the social media hustle culture? Go ahead.
I feel like I created it. I created it for myself. I was my own problem, to be honest.
That's exactly what we're talking about today. How'd you do that? What happened? What did you learn from it?
I had one person on social media or call me because they see my social media and they're like, "You look like you're really busy. Congratulations on being so successful." And I'm like, I am drowning. I look like I'm busy because I posted the same house 15 different ways, but I was faking it till I made it. And then once you do make it, you feel like you have to maintain it, and it's hard to maintain it and still be genuine. And so I mean, I hate to say it, I love to say that part of me does love the grind. I'm not gonna lie, but to a fault. Like you can't put so much value in the hustle. It's got to have obviously we talk about hustling hard, but it's got to be an equal mix.
You have to balance it because we can do all the hustle we want to. What are you doing with what you gained from that? Because if we are doing all that hustle and we're at like for example, you just said they thought you were too busy to take them. Is that what you were trying to say?
Well, no, at first I thought it was helping me because it was getting me business because I was posting about my hustle all the time. But then I had people 2-3 years later say, "Well, you seem too busy, or you only do new construction now, or you only." So I had hustled myself out of transactions because I'd always made myself unapproachable.
Yes, I can see that. And I feel like a lot of us do that. And I remember sitting, who knows Lee Brown? If you don't, you should. I think you were with me on that one, April. We were sitting at a Lee Brown thing back when COVID first started, and there were rampant. Everything was selling like this at the very beginning. Remember how quickly things sold? It was magic, right? We all loved it in the very beginning. Then it got hard. But she said, "Guys, why are we doing this to ourselves? We are posting sold in 1 hour, sold with multiple offers. What is that telling the people that are reading it? What's it telling them?
That's what they should sell a house.
That what? Sorry.
Sorry, that's easy to sell a
That
house.
it's easy. That your house is going to sell in 1 hour with multiple offers. We ruined ourselves. And somebody earlier said we did it to ourselves. We don't set hours, right? Anybody here have set hours? Good for you. You got set hours? Good. We're gonna before we leave. Sorry, April.
From the sunset to the sun.
You keep your hours. We'll have to have a balance.
Until I set my alarm for the next morning. So my phone off tonight, sir. That's what I said.
Yeah. All right. So what are the real costs? Burnout and exhaustion. Guys, I created this class because I have it bad. I've had it for a while. And it's because I've been doing this for a long time at that hustle. I just always feel like I have to always be going, and it's exhausting. So the burnout and exhaustion is a real problem, and I don't like being there. So I'm trying to help you guys not get there. We actually can lose income from this because I've actually watched somebody on my team tote buyers around, submit 3 offers for them, get under contract on one of them, and then back out because of inspections. And it was silly stuff. We've talked about this. Actually, Caitlin was here. Some of you were in the room talking about this client that she had to fire recently. I can't tell you how much time she spent on them, but she could have been doing something else. Even if it's not going to find another client, which would have been a wise thing to do because they took up that much time. Even if it's spending time with her family at that time, when that is also something we have to balance and we have to put that on our calendars, right? So you actually can lose income by letting these other things drain you. And we have to be really careful about what is a positive relationship and how are we managing it? Resentment. Do you ever have resentment for a client because they just worn you slap out? Right? Oh, come on, every one of them, right? When we let them wear us out, they will wear us out, and we then resent them. And are we going to handle them the same way or appropriately then when we resent them for all the stuff they dragged us through? No. We also probably are going to give lower quality service. I've had those people that drive me nuts, and I've let them drive me nuts. I've not set the boundaries up front and told them how this is going to work. So they're driving me crazy, and now I'm going to give them less service because they annoy me too much. I don't want to spend all Saturday with them. And damage personal relationships, and I'm talking about the ones at home, not with your clients. So I believe that boundaries are going to create better service. I think that healthy boundaries create clarity, because I've learned a lot. I've been doing a lot of studying about myself lately. And what I learned is that when we are super hyper busy, like we are, all of us think so fast. Have you guys ever heard me say, I've already moved on to the next thought? I forgot what we were talking about 10 seconds ago. Because my brain, she does it too, doesn't she? Because my brain moves so fast. But here's what we're doing without realizing it. We're telling our clients and everybody around us half the story, because we're not taking the time to tell them the whole story. And we're assuming they get it because we know how it works, what we meant to say, but we didn't stop and slow down long enough to say it the right way and at the right time when they're paying attention. So it can easily get lost. And so if we set the boundaries of like, well, so hard, let me move on. Clients are going to respect expectations, right? If you ask them what are your expectations for how this goes, you're going to do everything to meet them, right? If they say, I want to talk to you once a week, we're going to talk to them once a week. Does that mean that we then get to have them reach out to us after 3 days and say, why aren't we selling? No, we agreed on a weekly update, right? But I know that's hard and it sounds easy to say. There's other ways to say it that we'll also talk about. But being consistent with these rules is going to actually build trust with them. When we don't tell, I'm going to bring this into a marriage because that's the best way I can relate it, because it's what I've been going through. When we have one person that we spend a lot of time with, we start to think alike, right? And we assume that we're on the same page all the time and that everybody knows what everybody's doing, but we don't, because we didn't tell them what led us to this decision. We're just barking at them what they're supposed to do or what orders are. And I believe that we can do that with our clients if we get too busy and rush. So setting the expectation and being consistent on when we're going to talk to them, how we're going to talk to them, and don't let them interrupt your dinner. Why do we answer the phone at dinner? Why?
Scared that they're gonna get mad at you for not answering their.
Oh, have they ever? Nobody's ever gotten mad at me for not answering the phone. But I put that pressure on myself. Right?
Can I just say, we have a cross deal right now with an agent who has no boundaries whatsoever, all the way around. And when I tell you the communication has been some of the worst I've seen in my 20 years, and she's a very, very good, experienced agent. And when you get her in person, you recognize that every other communication is awful. And it's because she has no boundaries. And she is constantly, to your point, barking in a text message or in a quick call or in a voice note or whatever. And everybody is walking around on like pins and needles, like, what the heck? It seems like hair on fire the entire time. And she's always like, oh, sorry, I'm in the car. And it's like, we're all in the car, but we're all busy. But if you would slow down for just a second and articulate, to your point, the full thought, because what she's doing is just rapid fire. Yes. A short question, which it really needs a long answer. And what it's doing is making everybody just jump constantly.
Right.
And it's like rapid fire questions too. And so it's making the transaction to where her clients are reaching out to us directly, like, well, now I'm confused.
Yeah.
13,000 text messages intermittent. So
yeah,
see,
because she's not. This also goes with like time blocking, which I suck at. I'm being very upfront with you. I'm not a good time blocker. But this is why time blocking is important, so that you deal with the things that you need to deal with as you deal with them. I can envision what you're saying. It's the person who has, let's say we're filling out an offer, right? We have a lot of questions when we're filling out an offer. Are you the one that asks your client every single time you come to that line, or do you wait until the end and put together all your questions and send them concisely and say, These are the questions I have to finish the paperwork. Can you please answer them? Do you realize how much more time I saved by just making a note, not just for me, but for our clients? And to your point, April, when you talk about the transaction with that agent, imagine how our clients feel when we're doing that to them, because we have the knowledge, we know what that agent's talking about, we know what needs to happen, our clients don't, they're clueless. So when we're that rapid fire and we're just giving short answers because we think it's what they want to hear, we're not doing them or ourselves a service. So thank you, April.
Well, your analogy is really perfect in that, and we've all dealt with spastic people on the other side.
Oh, Vince, people.
Right, but being spastic can lead to so much anxiety, and like I said, the clients are now reaching us directly because her being spastic is creating just all worlds of anxiety and questions for them.
Well, our anxiety transfers to our clients, and it goes back to what we talked about on the last slide about you start to have resentment. You don't give them as good a service because you all of a sudden don't feel like they've earned it. Maybe they haven't, but is that partially our responsibility for not setting our boundaries, right? Okay, professionalism over availability, big one, big one, big one. It is important to be available, but do you call your doctor and say, I need to see you right now? Do you call your attorney? Do you call your accountant? Name me one person that you can call and say, professional, that you can say, I want to see you right now. Or I want my question answered right now. Can anybody name one that they're going to jump and do it?
And when I do, I would get charged $400 an hour.
There you go. So we can set hours, I guess. I'll answer your question any time of day. It's going to cost you $400 an hour. But anyway, point is that we are the only ones that do that. We do it to ourselves. We do it to ourselves. We have to get a handle on it. So conversations every agent needs to be comfortable with. Buyer agreements. You guys, who is doing buyer consultations right now? I was never a fan. Ask April. We grew up in the era where you put them in the car, you showed them the house, and you handled all the stuff you had to handle while you were driving them around, right? You told them how it worked, and you just did it naturally. I never got into the habit of buyer agency. I'm training my people to do that, and it's beautiful because their clients are so much better informed. It has nothing to do with how well I can help them without doing it. It's that they know and they have the expectations, and this is where you tell them what your hours are and how you're going to respond to them. You work out how you want to talk to each other. So buyer presentation and the buyer agency agreement. Obviously, we have to have buyer agency agreement now. Who puts people in a car without pre-approval? I'll do it, so I'm not criticizing. I'll do it once because I feel like that I'm better when they see me face to face. They trust me more because I have that trusting face. I think, maybe, I hope. So I will do one, but after that, we're not playing that game anymore. And we're going to make sure that you're approved. And so if you're not doing that, you need to change that.
When she said put people in the car, that's just our way of saying like meeting them for showing for the.
Oh, yeah.
So I was about to say, I know nobody's really putting people in their car anymore, and so when you said that, I was like, I'm not people are like, we don't have people around. For this question, but to your point, I'll show you one.
You what?
I'll show you one.
Okay.
Instead of.
I'm listening.
No, you're aggravating.
So respectful communication. Who has let a client talk to them ugly? Why?
Because I don't want to get fired and say something bad.
Did you deserve it? Did you deserve it?
I don't think so, but
If I deserve it, I'm gonna own it. Right? If I have truly made an error, I'm gonna tell you, you're right. I messed up. And at this point, I've said this before. I have made a mistake and I cannot take it back. It's over. It happened. All I can do now is apologize profusely and do my best to fix it. So here's how I'd like to fix it, and can we move on? Because once it's done, right? But nobody should talk to you in a negative way, period. And if you're on a team and they are, you need to get your team leader involved and to talk about the whole story. But please don't let people talk to you ugly. It's one thing to get upset. We're going to get upset, but nobody should be cussing you out. Nobody should be doing any of that. You're great.
100%. And I had somebody say something for me one time that really kind of helped, and they said, I want you to hear how I'm speaking to you, and this is the way I prefer to be spoke to as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I understand that you're upset, there are emotions involved, I completely get it, mine are as well. Maybe we should regroup when you've had a chance to calm down.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to accomplish anything unless we talk to each other this way.
In the throes of my mom, I had a tough thing with one of her bills, and I got really nasty with the person on the other side. I've never done that before, and I felt horrible the second I did it. And her response to me was, ma'am, I'm trying to help you. Whenever you're ready to calm down and talk to me, I'd like to finish helping you. And I went, oh, dude. And I instantly apologized because I knew I was wrong. Most people know they're wrong. But if we don't let them know that they've hurt our feelings or hurt us in any way, they're never going to know that, you guys. We're just going to be doormats. You have to speak up for yourselves. Okay. Saying we're not the right fit. Anybody ever had a not the right fit? Never? I've had one or two. April's like, come on now. I have. We all have. But it's our job to make it the right fit, right? And most of us are really good at that. But every once in a while, if you are the person, I'm just going to talk about Caitlin because I love her. Let's take my Caitlin. I'm not putting her with an engineer that she's never met that is the most suit and tie type of like rigid person. I wouldn't automatically make that connection because I don't think that they're going to appreciate each other. Caitlin is bubbly. Those types of people don't want the bubbles. They want cold, hard facts. She's capable of both, so I'm not picking on Caitlin. But what I'm saying is, if you recognize somebody, in my opinion, that you just know you shouldn't be working with them, go to your team leader. If you're a team leader, refer them to someone else because you're just going to make yourself miserable and them miserable, and it's not going to reflect well on you in the end. Right? It's very rare, but if you get to it, don't be afraid to do it. And then holding firm on your value. We've talked about that a lot as buyers. We now have to state our value where we haven't had to in the past. We have with sellers always, but we haven't really had great buyers. We just threw them in the car and we found them a house and we bought it. And it was easy peasy. We didn't have to have any hard conversations. Anybody ever give themselves a raise? August of 2024? Buyer's agent? Me too. If you haven't, you're late to the party. Do it because they're paying it. We are worth what we charge for a living, and we're now able to prove that. So, all right, hold firm on your value. Healthy business boundaries. All right, I'm going to encourage you to set business hours. Now, what I mean by that is that doesn't mean that I don't know how April's team works or anybody else's team works. If you guys have a responsibility that day that this is your day and you're on the phones till 9 or 10 o'clock, that's cool. That's your day to do that. What I'm talking about is talking to somebody about, do you think this would be a good house for us to see next weekend at 9 o'clock at night, when you could easily answer them the next morning because we're not even going till next weekend. May or may not even be on the market then. So, but I was always of the school that if I don't do it right now, it's not going to get done. And I made myself do it immediately so it would get done. I've had a transition. It's been a really hard transition, but I take a lot of notes now and I have a lot of to-do lists that stop me from doing that. I'm not going to answer you because the minute I answer you at 9 o'clock at night, now you expect to be answered at 9 o'clock at night. What happens if I'm in bed? What happens if I've done this 3 or 4 times and then you have a serious thing and I've gone to bed and you're mad that why didn't you answer me? So this is, again, set your business hours. I'll leave that up to you guys and your team lead if you have one, what those hours need to look like. But don't be afraid to say, I'm no good. After 8 o'clock at night, my brain does not function well. It just doesn't. I've done too much during the day. I've worked it too hard. And I know if I have something super hard, I'm gonna make a mess of it. If I don't take a deep breath, think about it for the next few hours I'm awake, wake up in the morning fresh, and then handle it first thing in the morning. Ma'am?
I just add 2 things to that. So for one, when she says, when I hear healthy business boundaries and set your hours and stuff, I immediately cringe because I have been told, certain times where you call this agent, it's like my business. If this call is received after 5, you will get a call tomorrow.
No, I don't tell them that's rude.
That's what I'm getting ready to say. You don't think you have to say it. But what you do is to her point, you create those boundaries. So if y'all don't already, make sure your red receipts are off. It is nobody's business when you read a text message, and I don't care. It doesn't matter who it is. And so for me, when people are like, well, I texted you 10 minutes ago, I'm so sorry. I've been in back-to-back appointments. Yeah. If it is 8 o'clock at night and they text me, I think it's completely reasonable when I call them back the next day. They don't know that I wasn't in bed asleep at 8 o'clock. That is a reasonable thing to do.
But here's the thing. It's also perfectly reasonable for you to be having time with your family. And my point is, there's some verbiage coming up in the screens of how to handle these situations. So that's okay.
When I heard it, I was like, I want anybody thinking here that they have to tell all their clients, I only work from the hours of this time and this time.
There's a verbiage, I'll just say it now. There's a verbiage I'm giving you in here that says, now I can't remember it. During your buyer presentation or your listing presentation, My office hours are 8 to 6. But if you need something, if there's an emergency after hours, I am available. So you're setting the expectation that in an emergency, I'm available, but I'm not gonna plan on working every day from 7 till 9 o'clock at night. That's family time. Okay, showing policies. When do we show houses? How do we show houses? If somebody wants to see a house tomorrow or in 1 hour, are we gonna go? Some of you may. It's not a wrong problem. It's if you have time, go, right? If you can go. But if you can't, what's your answer?
Unfortunately, I'm not available, but I do have X and X.
There you go. Did you want to say something?
I'm just gonna say like another thing you can say, like what I've been like sometimes I'll say, just like, let me check with the listing agent and see if they have that time available.
Well, that's a good one
And
too.
if they don't, I mean, they might, who knows?
Yeah.
If it doesn't work for me, instead of saying I can't make it, I'll like, oh, they have that time blocked off. Does this time work?
Listen, you guys, there's nothing wrong with saying I have an appointment at that time. I'm sorry. Or you have, I don't care if my appointment's with my husband. If he and I have plans, that is my appointment and I'm going to keep it unless it's an emergency. But this is where you have to, it's your business. You have to learn what those are. Response time, same. If we are constantly responding to every text in 5 seconds, what do they expect? But you're going to answer every 5 seconds. Give it time. You don't have to answer every text immediately. And I would encourage you not to unless you've gone down the relationship enough that they don't expect it. Like I now with clients will respond immediately once I know they're not going to hound me, right? But the ones that I'm just learning, I'm not responding to immediately because I want them to feel that they're not going to get me every single second of the day.
Or it's okay, I respond a lot working on it. So they feel seen and heard, and then they know I'm working on it. And it's like, okay, so she'll get back to me when she is.
Yep.
Got it together.
Okay. What about days off? Does anybody have like a day they try and take off?
Sunday.
Good.
Yeah.
I would like to encourage you to pick a day that is going to be your day off, and it can be in your brain. You don't have to tell your clients it, but you're going to do everything you can to avoid working that day. It's really important we have time off, you guys. We beat ourselves to the ground, and if you don't take that time for yourself, this is where burnout comes in. So what I like to say is, I'm so sorry I'm not available that day, but I am available the next day or whatever. Just the same thing. I'm sorry I'm booked up that day. I could be booked up with my husband, but I'm booked up with my husband. Go ahead, Jennifer.
No, I'm just thinking, I think you'll get to a different thing.
Okay, there are times where you're going to have to do that, but have in your mind an idea of which day of the week you want to try to be yours. Okay, just so that you're in that mindset. All right, vacation. Anybody take vacations? We have to. If we don't take vacations, we feel like we have to work. So make sure you're giving yourself some time away from here each year, in my opinion. All right, learning to say no. Let's be kind about it. Let's not apologize. How hard is that? Really, really, really hard.
It's going back to, we don't expect to call our dentist or our attorney or our doctor and get a response right away, or honestly expect them to have business hours. And if they say that they can't do something, we don't expect them, or at least I don't expect them to apologize to me about it. Why don't we see ourselves as professionals?
We've done this to ourselves, completely done this to ourselves. And it's all the things we're talking about. Don't answer right away. Don't answer at 9 o'clock unless it's important, because we're training them without even saying it. So I agree with you, but we've done that. And that's why we have to set things down.
I don't know that. I did not know.
What we're going to do is we're going to be kind. We're going to offer alternatives. We're not going to over-explain. We tend to over-explain because we feel like we have to say why we're not available. We don't. Your doctor, your dentist doesn't tell you, your attorney, why they're not unavailable. My accountant tells me he's in another country, but anyway, confidence builds credibility. If you are going and saying, this is my business practice, this is how I work, that means you have a practice, you have a business, you are setting your business, and that is going to automatically give you credibility, in my opinion. So, hold on a minute. I had some words and I don't think they made it in there. Let's talk about, instead of, I answer my phone every time. This is the one I just read to you. Instead of I answer my phone anytime, say my business hours are 8 to 6, but if there's an emergency involving your transaction, I'll always be available. Okay. How about instead of I'll show you anything, let's say, let's make sure we've narrowed your search so we're using your time wisely. It's their time. It's not our time, but it is our time. But everything is always about them, right? I can meet whenever, instead of I can meet whenever, what if we say I have appointments available Thursday afternoon and Friday morning? You probably can meet them forever, but in just saying I can meet you here and here, you're setting an expectation that you have boundaries and you have a time frame, you have certain things you need to get done. What would you say if sorry, that didn't work out very well. We're gonna move on. And I don't know why that is. Okay. I would like for you guys, this is your action plan to take home with you. Choose 3 boundaries to implement. And it can be any one of them. It doesn't have to be mine, but anything that you're not implementing. Are you doing a buyer consultation? If you're not, start that because you're setting expectations out front. If you're not setting appointment times and keeping your time about that. Remember we talked about, like, you don't want to show a house at 8 o'clock at night. It's getting dark. You're not even going to see everything about it. Why do clients have to take time off work to go to the doctor, the attorney, the accountant, but they don't for us? So I'm not saying we need them to take time off work to go see a house, but I am saying they shouldn't expect us to do it at 8 or 9 o'clock at night just because they can, right? Communicate expectations early. We've talked a lot about that. Review and adjust monthly. Your plans may change. You may say, this isn't working for me. I need to try something different. I need, instead of 1 day off, I'd really prefer to have 2 mornings off because I have things I want to do on these 2 days, however you want to handle it. And then protect your energy because we're going to need it, hopefully. Things are challenging right now. It's summertime, right? It's been kind of a challenging year. Can we say that in this room? It's not been it is what it is. We have this in real estate. We're always going to go through it. And we are been in a little bit of a challenging one. So what I'm trying to protect you is when you get busy to remain and try to remember these boundaries because we set them now when we're not busy. We agree to do whatever because right now we have the time. But after you do that 4 or 5 times and you have 4 or 5 clients that want you to jump high whenever they say jump, they want you to say how high. Now you're overwhelmed. And closing thought, you teach people how to treat you. And we can do that like by what April said too, by this is the way I'm going to treat you and this is the way I like to be treated, right? We lead by example. Kindness and boundaries can coexist. We have always put kindness above boundaries. It's an industry wide. I don't even know why, but we're going to fix it. Protect yourself so you can better serve others. And that's the real crux of it. Y'all ever heard if you're not happy at work, you're not happy anywhere. We spend 80% of our time at work. If we're not happy there, we can't be happy anywhere. So this is important. And this is probably the biggest thing why I'm even teaching this class because I let myself get so beat down that I was no longer effective at my job. I had to refigure that out. So don't let it happen to you. People don't respect us because we're available 24 hours a day. Right? Is there anybody available 24 hours a day besides maybe our mom and dad? Maybe our spouse. The spouse is better be available 24 hours a day. They respect us because we're professionals. And we are. So let's let them be professionals. I'm sorry I'm done early, but if you guys have any comments,
Question and comment. This was years ago, back when we were at the old Remax One office. I remember listening to a Tom Ferry podcast one time, or maybe it was YouTube, and he was interviewing one of his agents who had a very successful business. I would say she was closing like 70 deals a year. She did not work weekends. She only worked Monday through Friday. And I'm not saying you need to adopt that, but I'm just saying that is a clear example of somebody who set very good boundaries because she had young children and she wanted time with her family on the weekends. I think that could be a little bit extreme, but it worked.
yeah, it's so hard to for us, it's also we are our own boss. So I don't know, for me, I beat myself up if I'm not always working. I feel like I'm completely ineffective if I'm not always working. But that's not fair to us because there's no other real profession out there that is always working. Really? Most of them get to leave it at home, leave it at work. And so I just want you guys protected because you're all really great. And whatever your boundaries look like, just don't be afraid to set them up for yourself and take care of your clients.
No, so I would add to that too, do it sooner than later. I mean, I'm with Tracey in all of this. Like the way I should have protected my Sundays from the get is not even funny. And don't get me wrong, you know, I've had a lot of agents over the years that are like, sorry, I don't work on Sundays. Listen, There is I'm not even gonna answer the phone or an email or anything else on Sundays, and there's just my family knows that I'm gonna protect our Sundays, and if we can plan family outings, and we can plan to go to church, and we can, I feel like that's one of the most understandable days that people, if you're like, I'm so sorry, I've got family stuff going on today on a Sunday, everybody's like, totally get it, and then your family starts to understand, listen, she is making us a priority, but also anyone who's a business owner understands it is 24/7, you know what I mean? And that's why I laugh and everybody says they want to get into real estate, but it's flexible hours. I'm like, by flexible, you mean bend over backwards for everyone around
I was gonna
you.
say they're flexible, but they're gonna be flexible to what your client wants, not what you want.
And so I would say, set the precedent sooner than later and let your family hold you accountable. And not, listen, there are days that,
It's a good one.
my family knows that Sundays are protected now, but it makes it different when I have to go to Brian and say, listen, I'm not gonna come on Sunday because then it's almost like I have to justify it to myself first and then to him. Makes me go, am I just jumping because I'm running from a scarcity mindset? I'm worried I may not have another deal tomorrow if I don't do the deal today. I mean, there's always gonna be extenuating circumstances, somebody's only in town and this, that, and the other, but I think if you set a precedence for yourself, all of this, you've got to be proactive. If you're gonna create boundaries, you gotta be proactive. If you're not gonna jump to everybody's whim, then you better have your stuff squared away first thing in the morning.
That's why I'm saying make your action plan.
Yeah.
Make it now so that you know what your boundaries are, and then do that buyer presentation or that listing agreement and say, this is how it works. This is how I like to work. If you need more from me, we can talk about that, but this is what to expect from me. And again, once they know expectations, people don't get their feelings hurt, usually.
And I would also say along the lines of communication expectations, it's okay that we don't all communicate the same way.
Right.
And I have that conversation with all my clients. I'm like, let me tell you what, if you need something to get done for me, the best thing you can do is email me. Because I have 3 people watching my email at all times. I am a terrible texter, and it's because I am in back to back meetings or on the phone pretty much all the times. And I am terrible for hitting it on my watch and it's gone forever. So I'll be honest, if you text me and you don't get a response back, shoot me an email. And I have found more clients be respectful over that and know, like, hey, it's so important to me that you get a quick response or as fast as possible. And I know it may happen better by somebody else. It doesn't always have to be me. And if you're on a team, you can always say, I've got a team behind me, so this is why it's easier if you do X, Y, Z.
Yeah, I love that. Anybody else? We still have a few minutes. Does anybody have a tricky situation? But since we have a lot of people in the room, anybody have a tough situation they want help with, want to talk it out? No.
So I will say, I had a humbling moment this week. So we're in the process of planning a remodel on our first home. So I'm starting to reach out to people that we need, contractors, designer, architect, all the things we're going to need for this remodel. And I sent out a text message, and I'm not gonna lie, like one of them didn't respond 15 minutes or 10 hours until the next day. I was a little up in arms. I'm not gonna lie. And I thought, this is how our clients feel. This is how our clients feel when I don't at least acknowledge.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I have the exact opposite. I'm like, good for them.
And so I'm telling you humbling, because in the beginning I was like, this is what our clients feel like when they're excited about something and they just want to talk to us because they're excited. Like, I get it now that I'm in go mode. I'm like, oh, I need this and this and this, and all of a sudden I am totally my worst client. And I'm like, can you meet tomorrow? I'm like, this April, calm yourself down. This remodel's gonna happen over the winter. It's okay that you don't have to meet with them tomorrow. Yes, actually next week is fine to me. The week after is fine. Like, I've had to slow my own self down, and I'm like, this is how our clients feel. But it did remind me, like, this is why it's so important that even if I can't get back to somebody, I at least acknowledge. Because like I had a group text and one person responded immediately, like, hey, I can do this day, or this day. The other person I didn't hear from at all until the following day. And I immediately was ready to text him and say, hey, if you need to pass me off with somebody else, and I had to tell myself, no, April, you've got 2 text messages sitting there that were not urgent questions. You've responded that you're working on it. It is okay if you don't get back to them until tomorrow because it's not urgent. But it was just kind of crazy to be in the seat that I feel like our clients are in a lot. And so I don't want us to take for granted our boundaries for their excitement. Does that make sense? Like, we still want to recognize that they're excited. They found something, they see something, they have a question that's got them anxious. So it is important that we, we give them some type of attention, but it's okay that we can do it within boundaries, if that makes sense. I don't know, I just, like I said, it was a revelation to me because all of a sudden, I'm that antsy person. I had to stop myself from texting at 9 o'clock, like, hey, it's okay if you can't make it. Like, no, sit down, put the phone down, they'll respond when they can. You know that they're a busy person, you know this is who you want to do the work, type of thing. So it was just very humbling to be kind of on the other side.
I still feel like COVID did a number on us because of how busy we all got.
Yes.
That we felt like we had to move that quickly, and we haven't quite figured out how to slow it down yet. Alan Nielsen, friend of ours, lives in Denmark, and we were talking recently, and he said he and his wife were looking for a house, new house. And he said, Tracy, first of all, we have to call each listing agent, they show it. And he said, but I called each one and none of them could show it to me. This was like on a Tuesday, and every one of them put him off till the next week. Every single one of them. He goes, it's just different over there. When they get to you, they get to you. And everybody stops working at 4 o'clock. Now, we're not ever going to do that. We can't. But what I'm saying is, it's particularly in our industry when it got so crazy that if we didn't get that offer in right now, we were losing it. And we didn't want that because that's our client that just lost their home, right? So we worked so hard and so fast that we are truly having to remind ourselves that we're not there anymore. Like you said, I loved your point because I have found that myself. I learned it when my mom passed. And I asked all of my clients, can you give me 2 weeks? I will be no good to you for 2 weeks. If you can't wait, I'll give you to somebody else because I want you taken care of. But if you want to wait for me, I'll be back to you in 2 weeks. Every one of them waited. And every one of them was gracious about it and understood. And that was my humbling moment where I went, holy crap, I did this. I'm the one that thinks they have to be helped yesterday. They know that they're still 6 months out and that they can wait a couple of weeks. So again, I think a lot of times they get excited and we feel their excitement and are so excited for them that that's when we start on this, like, go. And now we're not even focused on what we were doing at the beginning.
Well, and to your point, it's not just the agents from COVID that they got jaded, it's also the buyers. I mean, we would have buyers who would make an appointment with you, make an appointment with you just to guarantee that they got to go into the house.
Yeah.
And so it also created this fear for the buyers, like, I don't hear back right now, I may lose it.
Yeah.
Even though the market has changed and buyers have time, this is where it's so important that we advise them and guide them, and to your point, have a consultation, because they're still operating in this place of, well, it could be gone if somebody doesn't answer this question right away.
You're exactly right. And that's all, we all have to retrain ourselves. Yes.
Last Saturday, I showed some new construction homes Friday afternoon, and the buyers were pre-approved with their banking in New Hampshire, so I was like, not a big deal, and they were under the impression they weren't gonna pick a house. And then Saturday morning, they woke up and were like, we have to buy this house. And I was like, you need to work with one of my local lenders, I'm not working with your New Hampshire banks. They were like, cool. I texted 4 lenders at 9 a.m. Saturday, only heard back from one, and that was an hour later. The other 4, I didn't hear back from until like 3 or 4 p.m. on Saturday, and I'm like, well, they're already approved with somebody else, and they've already gone under contract because it took y'all 8 hours to respond. I understand it's a Saturday. I understand everybody's got something going on. They've got kids in diapers or people are at T-ball, whatever. But like in the world that we're in now, where everything is so Amazon Prime, and you order something on Amazon, shoots out of your butthole, like you gotta be, faster to. Yeah.
See, I hear that.
Justin.
I hear you, but I'm kind of on a mission to change that. And here's why, because I feel like all of us need protected. Here's what I would have done in that same situation, take it or leave it. I would have said, okay, they're approved somewhere. I don't want to work with that lender. I want you to get a second opinion from someone that I can knock on their door if things aren't going well. But I have an approval letter that I can get you under contract with. And next week, let's talk to a different lender and you can get a couple of different estimates and pick which one you think is going to be the best program for you. So I still helped my client. We still went under contract over the weekend because I was confident they could buy. I just wasn't happy with who they were using. And that's what I would have done, which slowed everybody down. And now you have the opportunity for those people who were unavailable on the weekend to pick up and be able to work with you. So I hear you. And maybe it's a cultural thing too, that your age group has grown up with the now. And I don't know what to do about that, but I know that a lot of people that I speak with out in the field in this industry and others are so tired of that everybody's just kind of going, whoa, let's just take a breath for a second. I see that a lot. So I think that's why I even designed this class, is to try to help you guys understand that while you did need that answer, you didn't really need that answer, right? You didn't have to have that answer to be able to proceed and do what you wanted to do. Right?
Yeah, I mean, their bank wasn't open until Monday morning.
What I also might have done is call the listing agent and say, they're pre-approved, I know they're pre-approved, their bank is closed this weekend. Can we get going and get under contract, and I'll provide you a pre-approval letter first thing Monday before we drop, and I drop off the due diligence. Like, that's all I would say, but
But I think to that point, and what you were getting ready to say, the next generation has had this in their hands their whole lives. And so they are used to a more instant communication. And that's why
but don't we have responsibility to teach them that they're making mistakes when they do that?
100%.
Because of that, because you guys wouldn't wait, she or he might be with a crappy lender now. Because we couldn't wait for Monday. And that's exactly what my point, I think, is that I think that some of the, not you, Justin, you're amazing. But some of the younger, everyone in this room is amazing, but some of the younger group is so attached to this that they don't think for themselves. And I feel like we have some responsibility to help them think for themselves.
And I think that's where it goes back to what April said, and even with those contractors that you were texted, if they had just acknowledged,
Yeah.
hey, I've got your text, I'll be in touch with you later today, or I'll be in touch.
And I
with
do
you
agree with that.
tomorrow morning.
At appointments, let me check my schedule.
Or if it's like a Saturday morning and I know it's not urgent, I will respond, do you mind if I wait till Monday to do that?
Yes,
I do that all the time.
that helps this generation of wanting an instant response, but you're still also taking control of your time to
Yeah.
not drop everything.
Yeah, I love
you know,
that.
that you're doing.
I love that.
Well, and I think to your point, what we have to remember, and I just had this, I did this last night. I got a referral who's a friend of mine from high school. We're still in her grandma's house, and she's a real estate agent. So I feel like this much more pressure to perform for her. And so I was like, all right, I've got one investor offer, obviously I'm gonna send y'all the paperwork. And she's like, what's our net? I literally sent her a screenshot of me doing my calculator. And I texted it to her and I said, because it was 8:45 last night. And I was like, I can send you something more formal in the morning. I am stressing out about it. And she sends me back, no worries, we're not in that much of a hurry. And I'm like, we're doing it to ourselves.
Exactly.
If I would have just said,
This way.
I will get it to you in the morning, she'd have been like totally fine. It was me standing in my bathroom at 8:45 last night doing the math, to screenshot her picture to let her know that I was working on it because I had something to prove.
But she didn't ask for that.
She didn't ask me.
And that's kind of what I'm saying. We have to find a balance. There is definitely a balance. There is definitely a balance, but, and I just want us to find it. I love that you said that story.
Well, and I think that goes back to, yes, we cannot get away from the instant gratification society that we are in, but we can change the narrative. And the narrative needs to be, yep, got it, working on it. You are, and I have to say this to a lot of my builders, you are a priority, but you cannot be my primary. None of our, now don't you ever tell a client you're not my only client, because I have seen people get fired over that. But it is okay that people know they are a priority, but they cannot be the only thing we have going on.
Well, it's like those of the lenders that I texted, it's like, it's fine to hear it, whatever, but just text me and be like, here's the application.
Yeah.
Tell them to text me when it's done. Like, that could have been, the exchange. Like, if I'm out and about, yeah.
Yeah,
And it's like,
just a response
an
and to let you know.
acknowledgement, like what you were
Yeah.
talking about. And it's like, and I told them all, like, this is a softball, like, it's gonna be super easy pre-approval. And I'm like, it would have been, and they were gonna work with whoever I told them to work with, and they ended up working with Dave Farrell, which is wonderful, and I know you like Dave, like, which is great. I only, recommend good lenders, but it's like, he got the business because he was the first to respond. And then I have some of these other lenders that I want to work with, and they want to wine and dine, and we go to lunch and play golf and whatever. And then it's like, but when it comes down to it, like, you're not available when my people are available.
Yeah.
Because my people that are buying are 27, 28, 29 years old. They work 9 to 6, or they're night shift nurses, and they can only see houses on the weekends. And a lot of times they're pre-approved, but I don't let a buyer write an offer until they've seen like estimated cash close and estimated monthly payment on a property. And if it's a Saturday evening, and we just saw this, it just came on the market Saturday morning, we're going to see it Saturday evening, they want to write an offer. Like, sometimes we need a response a little faster. And those are the questions that I'm starting to ask our like preferred vendors. It's like, what does work look like to you? Because for me, I am at a place in my life where I don't have a family, kids, whatever.
Right.
So I can work 24/7, and I do. And I have that conversation with lenders or inspectors or whoever. Like, what does work look like for you? Because for me, it is this, and sometimes I need something on Saturday evening. And I'm starting to have that conversation in front with like new preferred partners that would bring it on, just because I don't want to mislead, but I also don't want to like have a faulty experience for a client because it's like I sent a lender a softball of a pre-approval, $700,000 in Raleigh, Thursday at 12 p.m. They did the application Thursday by 5 p.m. I didn't hear anything until Tuesday at 9 a.m. It was not a holiday weekend. I checked in 4 times.
Well, and part of
Was that was one of the local ones or that
Yes,
was
that
their
was
one?
local, guy in Clayton.
Well, and to your point is, you know, again, playing devil's advocate, and this is why everybody's at different seasons and stages in their life, and that's where you have to figure out what boundaries will look like for you, you know, but at the same time, like when we deal with a lot of new construction, the incentives are based off, are you using our lender? And we had a lot of issues with one of the lenders who did not want to work the same hours that we did. And I remember I got an offer and I was like, we have this offer. They're waiting on the lender to call them back to be pre-approved so they know that they can use the incentives. Because the incentives, whether their closing costs are fully paid or not, is going to make or break whether or not they can move on this house. Let's be real. And the lender starts back, I'll get that to you on Tuesday. It was on a Saturday night. I was like, no, you won't. I mean, I'm not telling you when you have to do your job, but you work in a company where there's a lot of people who can churn out and just, you know what I mean? And so
Can I ask you a question? This is, I'm not trying to argue with y'all at all. I'm really trying to learn. This is a question. That particular house, was it likely to sell before Monday or Tuesday?
yeah, in this particular neighborhood.
Then I completely agree with you. And all I was gonna say when I raised my hand is that's a question for you to ask to your people. Yeah, because that was why we chose Hamer. I remember the day I met Joe Hamer and I said, here's the problem I have with every other attorney I work with. And I told him what the problem was. And I said, is that how you operate? And he said, absolutely not. And he still has held up to it since that point. So he's always done what I asked him to do. So that's what you have to find is the ones that are in the same situation as you. But it's cool. All right. Well, that was fun. Does everybody were you
Did I say that again?
yeah. Is it okay? I'm gonna ask you, is it okay that you came now?
Yes, because this is stuff nobody ever taught Tracey about. When we first started working together 20 years ago.
I'm focused on you. I don't want you to blow this stuff. And I know you don't have a family, but find friends or something to occupy your
Nobody told us this. I mean, and here's the thing that I feel like you always hear is speed to lead. And that is the truth. You've got to be the first one that they connect with. But then once you create that relationship, then it's okay to establish boundaries. It's okay to create your schedule. You know, I made when I was Justin's age, Abby was 2. I made a schedule that worked for me, and it was very much like a 9 to 5. I dropped her off at school and I went straight to the office and I worked at the office until it was time to pick her up. And then I got home and I worked while I made supper. But what you heard me say is I took her to school and I picked her up every day. I never missed a thing at school. So to me, those were boundaries. That was balance. Yeah, I would pull 2 open houses on a Saturday and then I'd protect my Sunday. So this is where she's saying you've got to be proactive in how you're going to make that work. I started getting up at 5 a.m. not because I'm a morning person, but because builders start at 7. And if I needed any peace for myself, I tell them all the time, listen, builders are about the only people I'll talk to before 9 o'clock. Otherwise, as agents on my team, you know, you'll text me, you'll call me. If it's not urgent, I'm not going to talk to you till after 9 because I'm my best self after I've had at least 2 cups of coffee, after I've had my devotion. And that's what Tracey's trying to explain. You got to create these boundaries. Otherwise, you're not going to be your best self for your clients or for your family. And what you're going to do is just get burnout all the way around. And we've seen burnout in our family life and our work life. And all the scenarios. And so you need to get ahead of it instead of trying to figure out 20 years in.
I don't give a life back.
Right now, like I'm literally like right now in this moment, like this whole summer, I've been like, okay, this summer me and Calvin are gonna have so much fun. But then I'm also like, no, I need to be hustling and working hard because last year I didn't get to do that. So I need to build my pipeline back up. So how do I balance both? Let's have fun and meeting work because you know.
So I had this talk with Caitlin last summer because she came to me in end of June, early July, and she's like, I got nothing. And no, it was end of July, August, and she said, I got nothing. She's like, I'm terrified. And I said, well, what happened 60 days ago? And she's like, I don't know. And I said, your kid got out of school. Kids. And she goes, oh, and I said, there's nothing wrong with that. Take time with your kids. That's what summer is for, and that's why you have this job. But next year, you need to stack your deck. the
Yeah.
first of the year, all the way up through April, May, so that you can withstand that.
Yeah.
And you pick it back up in August.
And I think my problem is like I took a lot of time off last year.
You're in a different situation, don't beat yourself
And
up.
so like, but I'm trying to like catch up and also, and because we didn't have a summer last year, so we're trying to make up for summer last year and make up for the last like 6 months all at the same time. And so trying to find a balance and not feel guilty when with her and then feel guilty when I'm here, you know.
The only thing that's, and we've talked about this, the only way you're gonna be able to create that is to create structure
Yeah.
and stick to it. You've got to be hyper focused. When you have 2 hours of time, it has got to be just in it to win it to make stuff happen time. You know, whether it's her time or whether it's work time, it can't be but because it's, you know.
It's too distracting to
Yeah.
do both, and this job is too hard to do part-time or half-ass, it just is.
Yeah.
I was just having this conversation with one of my agent friends the other day, and she's like, I have 2 small kids, so between 6 and 8, I don't really like answer texts or calls or emails because I'm having dinner, like I'm putting the kids to bed, whatever. She's like, but between 8 and 9:30 every night, I get the best stuff done because that's when I'm able to be at my computer. And my clients know, like, hey, can I call you at 8? And the majority of the time, she's like, very rarely do they say no. She's like, 99% of the time they say, yeah, call me then. And she's like, so I get my best work done. The kids are asleep, like I'm able to focus and be at my email and
Yeah.
100% dialed in. She's like, I'd rather be 100% dialed in at 8 p.m. instead of halfway dialed in at 4:30.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly the kind of thing we're talking about. And just because I get tired at 7 o'clock at night, doesn't mean that's everybody. If your time is 8:30, 8 to 9:30, your time is 10 to midnight. I don't care what your time is, but just make sure it's your time.
Yeah, when you have those peak performance times, that's when you need to schedule your best stuff. You know, and that's why for me, the older I got, where I used to be able to, you know, put Abby to bed and I'd stay up all night working on the computer, creating ads and you name it, doing all the things. My brain don't work well anymore after 7 o'clock. I'm tired. And so then I was like, all right, I need to find more time in my day. I'm gonna have to start getting up earlier, which sounds kind of productive because it makes you tired earlier. But I did that so that I had more dedicated structured time when I was fresh, knowing that I can't work at 9 and 10 and 11 o'clock like I used to be able to.
Used to be able to.
Used to be able to. I can't anymore.
Okay, thanks for coming, everybody. This is